Hey, what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and unfortunately, again, we've lost another rock and blues legend, and Barry Goldberg, who has passed away at the age of 82. He is from Chicago. He was born in 1942 and grew up in that blues scene of Chicago. You know, the blues was invented in the Mississippi Delta, but it was really when those folks moved to Chicago that it was electrified by people like Muddy Waters and Otis Rush and Howlin' Wolf. Barry was a friend of Mike Bloomfield, and they were rubbing shoulders, jamming with guys like Muddy Waters. And really, you know, the blues explosion was huge, obviously, over in England, where you have bands like the Yardbirds and the Rolling Stones mimicking the United States blues. But you know, the Chicago blues scene for people like Elvin Bishop and Mike Bloomfield and Barry Goldberg and Paul Butterfield was huge also. You know, in 1965, Goldberg's playing with Mike Bloomfield, and they go to Newport, where Bob Dylan is going to perform. Dylan's manager said, absolutely no organ. We don't want any organ here at Newport. And Paul Butterfield and Mike Bloomfield tried to talk him into it. Ultimately, on the eve of the show, Dylan's organist does not show up. Bloomfield says, hey, we got this guy, Barry Goldberg. And the rest is history. He performs at Newport, one of the most famous shows up to that point in the history of electric rock and roll, certainly in the United States. After that, he forms a band, Goldberg Miller blues band, with Steve Miller. This is pre-Miller going to San Francisco. They do the song, the Mother Song, and then Miller goes off to San Francisco, forms his own blues band, of course, becomes Steve Miller Band eventually. In 1967, Mike Bloomfield formed the Electric Flag with Barry Goldberg, which I believe they played at Monterey. They were a experimental blues band with organ and the great guitar playing of Mike Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield, great Les Paul player. Ultimately he forms the Barry Goldberg Reunion. One of his first recordings, and one of my favorite songs of that era from 1964, I believe, was Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, Devil with the Bluegrass, that goes into Good Golly Miss Molly. That's his first professional recording. What a great one to be on. He ends up as a songwriter, did some co-writes with Jerry Goffin. People that recorded some of Barry Goldberg's songs were Rod Stewart, Gladys Knight, Joe Cocker, Flying Burrito Brothers, B.J. Thomas, Graham Parsons, the Ramones, Leonard Cohen. Ends up playing with Curtis Mayfield on People Get Ready. Late in his career, he forms a quartet with the great Stephen Stills, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and Chris Layton on called The Rides. They put a great album out in 2016 that went to number one in the blues charts. And again, he rubbed shoulders in the early 60s with people like Muddy Waters, and these guys were going down into the clubs and learning from the real deal about the blues. And there's nothing like those experiences to influence you onto a great career, and Barry Goldberg certainly had that. He will be missed. Unfortunately, these deaths of our heroes are happening on a daily basis, it seems like. Anyway, check out my channel, subscribe if you like this content. We talk about great music every day. Rest in peace, Barry. You died at 82, unfortunately, from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And peace to you. Peace out. Talk to you later.